My story starts in December of 1975. I was born in Logan, Utah. My parents were addicts, so we grew up in kind of a dysfunctional, not very fun home. Unfortunately, my mother wasn't a very loving or caring person, so I didn't feel like I was worth much, growing up, and I felt really lonely and afraid most of the time. She was physically abusive, verbally abusive, emotionally. The whole bag of abuse, she really was. I was just the stench in God's nostril, as she put it. I was trying to graduate from high school because I quit and then I went back. And I was trying to graduate and I was going through a lot of stress. And one of the girls at school asked me if I wanted something to make me feel better. And I said, sure, of course, because I was always tired and depressed. And that's my first time to try meth. Yeah. After that, it was like anything I could do for it. And it was, I mean, looking back now, I'm like, oh my gosh, please, why would you just say no? All the commercials and all the just say no, not even once, is really true. Not even once. Never. I was a wanderer. I couch surfed a lot. I had a lot of fair weather friends. They would let me stay for a few days, and then I was wearing out my welcome. So it was really patchy, existence, being here, being there, with nothing to call my own. It was really lonely. It was hard. It was hard living like that, for sure. I just had terrible relationships. It was all parties and good times, and then when things got serious, like I got pregnant or whatever, they were out the door. Just a series of broken relationships, children that don't have their fathers around. I have 5 kids total, so these kind of things drove me headlong into my addiction. I was addicted since I was 19 years old to drugs and alcohol. But the shelter was really good to us. But this was like my safe haven. Every time something bad would happen, I'd come here. If I was coming down off drugs or if I didn't have my kids. And that's where I came in 2012. One day I was really depressed and I sat on there used to be a wall out back here, a little 3-foot concrete wall. Rosie found me and I had taken a whole bottle of Ambien and I ended up on life support for 5 days. So there's one of my lives. Yeah, and that was really scary for me. I was like, well, I really want to live. I don't really want to die. Because I kept thinking about where was I? For 5 days, if I wasn't awake, where was I? And it really scared me. That's when I came in here to do my first program in 2013. Yeah, it was a great program. I did it to look good on the outside, though. I never did any actual work on the inside of me. I didn't break down any walls. I didn't let out any of the things that caused me to keep going back into addiction. I didn't talk about any of that. It was just to look good. I think because the hurt was so strong about my kids, like I totally failed as a mother, and that's how I felt about myself. And I just felt like there's nothing that's going to take that from me. And I didn't really have a deep connection with the Lord like I do now. I just jumped right back into it head first. And it was just, how they say you start where you left off? Well, it was true. It was like only 10 times worse. And I was like, oh my gosh. So for the next 4 years with this man, I spent using and living in my car and living in motels. And then I ended up pregnant with Isaiah. I was begging the Lord. I was begging him, please help me out of this situation. I would be writing psalms in my journals at night. Really just, and he was telling me, the Lord was telling me, impressing on my heart, he was like, go back to City Light. And that's when I decided to come back to City Light for a second time, for a second program. And this time I just laid it all out. I said, you have it all, Lord. So, I mean, God has changed my entire being. And when He says He creates a new person in us, He really has this time. I surrendered my entirety to Him in March, like probably around March 10th of 2022 when they restarted my program. I was like, fine, this is it. God, you got it all this time. You can take it all. Because I'm obviously, every turn that I choose on my own, I am messing it up. And I almost lost my chance at this program in March. And now I've made it, and I couldn't be more happy and excited and elated and just full of joy and grateful heart for sure. I'm in my internship right now. I love what I do. I work with Jean and Jane, and I did the Christmas holiday, which was fantastic to work, see how the community blessed City Light was phenomenal. I'll be graduating on February 9th is my projected date of graduation. Yes. And they project to move out in the next step on February 15th. I wouldn't have made it without this program, without the donors supporting us. I wouldn't have made it. So it was very important to come here and at least gain a sense of worth, because I had no worth. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I had any worth. I'm excited about my life. I love myself now, and when I first came here, there was no way I could ever have said that I loved myself or my life. And that's been a big step for me. And I love to say that. I love my life now. I love that. And I am a true chosen daughter of the one true King, and He has redeemed me for sure. He has given me back the years that the locusts have eaten from me, and I could jump for joy. I'm so excited.